And hello to all my Taurus friends. I would like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free psychic tarot reading for September of 2021. Now today they have dialed up a storyline spread for my Tauruses. It is a big scattershot spread. It casts a very wide net across all of the Taurus spectrum. It really helps me to be a lot more accurate because we're actually breaking the Taurus bubble up into a lot of different parts. So the whole idea is really to find a story that's right for you. They may not all resonate, and that's okay because it's really about finding the one that does. Now, there have been people that have told me that there are multiple stories that resonate with them in the storyline spread, and that's okay, but I would probably say that's more rare. The more common answer is really just finding the one, so that's really our focus. So we're going to get started on that. We're going to conclude also with a yes or no spread. I have to tell you about that right now because you have to start thinking about it now, or at least ask your yes or no question. Well, you don't have to, but if you'd like to play along and get an answer to a yes or no question, start thinking about that now. And by the end of the reading, Spirit is going to answer that in the form of context. We'll talk more about that at the time, but it's also very rare for that to come up, so I'm interested to see why that is. So let's get started. The cards are already shuffled. I'm going to dive right in and bring you in here. Hit the like button so you can build up the energy in here, and let me show you what's going on. I like to share what I see here in the cards. What I'm doing right now are my ritual cuts. It basically cuts the deck into 3 different pieces, puts it back together in a separate order, and that satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. And then they're ready to run. So we have storyline for Taurus, September. Let's see what we got. Coming in very clean. Yep, everybody's upright. And there's going to be our core. Everybody's on camera too. Very good. Now I have to pick apart where we're going to break up. These guys will go together. This will be its own thing. Its own thing. So we're looking at 4 stories, Taurus. Okay. Let me get some more information on the cards. I'm just going to do just one for both of these here. That's why. Very good. I like how clean your energy is coming in, Taurus. Not a lot of blockages. Very good. Very good to see. This is going to be the big story down here. I'm going to adjust the camera just to make sure you guys can see all of this once I finish pulling the cards. Big thing to talk about in health. That's going to be the big story. Let me see how we're doing on the view. Bottom looks good. The top needs work. Okay, so this is going to be one of the smaller stories up here. I think you can kind of see that. Okay, I'm really focusing on this. I want you to see this guy. It's about as good as we're going to get. Let's go to work, Taurus. Let's do it. I'm going to start with the little guy, work my way up to the big one, spend the most time on it. The first thing they talk about, Taurus, for story number 1, a lot of you have just made a large purchase. Usually this is some kind of pleasant purchase. It's not like your refrigerator breaking or your car breaking and needing a new one. It's usually just more of a pleasant thing. It's a choice of yours. It's different for different people. For some people, this is a big purchase is considered like a few $100 for a TV or furniture or something like that. And for other people, it's a much bigger thing like, boats, yachts, and whatever else. Just depending on where you're at. They show big purchase for a lot of my story number 1 Tauruses. They say that this is a brand new beginning, like you completely wiped your slate clean to do this. It's almost like you moved all of money from one account into this thing, and it may even be not an example like I gave you. You may be moving all of your money from one place into an account or something like that, and that would come up like a big purchase. You're basically making the money not tangible anymore, or not liquid, I guess you could say. So that's another thing that can also pop up there. So wiping the slate clean, you've kind of undone one thing and put it all into another thing for my story number 1. They're saying take back your power, which makes me feel like a lot of you have been giving it away in some form. Really, you're starting to manifest the blessings in your life at this time. Very good to see that you're really kind of owning this right here. There's not a whole lot of advice for me to say. You know, when something's good and it's just a matter-of-fact thing, it's really just more for validation. It's less about me giving you advice. So story number 1, that's what we have. Story number 2, let's go here. For a lot of my Tauruses that are in a relationship of some form, it doesn't matter if you're married, you know, just in a relationship, coupled up, dating, whatever it is, a lot of you are moving into, I guess, a more harmonious phase. We have gifts from God. The first thing that they talk about in the oracle card, it's basically saying that, you know, all the gifts are here and you just have to open up your arms to receive them. So a lot of you have found your person. That's the way it really reads. A lot of you are hearing things this month. That's kind of the interesting thing. You may be hearing things, so watch what you hear. September is kind of a chatterbox month is what they're showing for things that, I guess, gossip and talk. For a lot of you, this is a brand new beginning in love, and other people may be saying things, you know, hopefully they're pleasant things, but they also may not be. So just, you know, don't really sweat it. I view it as sweating the small stuff. Really just worry about what makes you happy. Don't care so much about what others want for you in the life that they want. I have easy work coming in. That's what makes me feel like you're moving into a better position. It may be financial too. Your love may be also growing financially together. This may be two people putting their money into something, perhaps a business or different accounts. We already talked about accounts in story number 1. But basically, all things good here. Again, another good story, Taurus. You know, not a lot for me to say about it, but good for you guys who are here. And, well, let me look ahead real quick, because I don't want to leave my single Tauruses out either. I'm looking ahead to see if I have any other love stuff. Not really. So, and you know, this message here is so specific into my coupled up Tauruses that there's just no way for me to delineate and to pick apart a message for my single Tauruses. It's just going to be one of those months where I guess they want to leave it vague for if you're looking for a relationship, you're single, or whatever, wherever across the spectrum you fall. It's just better not being said right now, I guess. So sorry I can't help you with that one, but let's move on to story number 3. For story number 3, they show a lot of you are starting a new journey. A lot of this is a legal journey. Gonna say we have the Justice card coming up with the Fool. Doesn't mean you're a fool, but it means to be a little cautious, perhaps. Tread lightly. Watch, you know, in most decks, they show a person walking along the edge of a cliff. So it's saying to really watch your step. It's a new journey. It's exciting. It can be, you know, a lot of good stuff can come from it, but at the same time, watch your step. Be cautious. So with the Justice card coming up, a lot of times it's legal stuff, agreements, contracts, pretty much anything you put your signature on, court stuff, you know, any kind of legal disputes, arrests, all that kind of stuff can come up under Justice. The other definition of the Justice card is the energetic definition, which is more about karma returning to you, not other people's. So keep in mind if you're story number 3 over here and you're on a brand new journey, first of all, be cautious. Second of all, you're getting returning karma. Hopefully that's good karma, because even bad karma comes back. It doesn't matter what it is. So a lot of this is coming back to you as you go down this new journey. They show a lot of you are getting out of bankruptcy. Either getting out of bankruptcy or getting your finances in check. You know, a surplus of money in September. Things are going very well. They show that you're nurturing this. Almost like you're growing your finances. You're almost treating them like a kid is how they describe it. It's like you're caring for it like it's real, like it's alive. So I guess it's good to see. If it makes you happy, that's your thing. Absolutely. So things, again, are moving in a positive direction for Taurus. This is just more of a cautionary thing. Let you know to just watch your step. Maybe take your time a little bit with things. New journeys are exciting, but at the same time, you know, don't Don't get too far ahead of yourself. That's really all I have to say about that. So again, positive stuff. We're just really kind of continuing that. We want a continuance of you working on that and getting to the right place here. Before we get into story 4, that's the big one. I want to talk about the moon cycles right now because that ties directly into a lot of these stories I've already gone over. I like to give you guys the moon cycle forecast every single month in my general readings. I'm one of the few readers who does that. So we have the new moon coming in on September the 6th. This month on Labor Day. That's when you want to bring something new into your life, something brand new. You want to manifest it. An example of that, let's see. This journey that you're going on. Story number 3. Perfect time. Beginning of the month. I wouldn't wait. Let me also say, if you're contemplating, you know what this new journey is, but you're just not there yet or you haven't pulled the trigger yet, beginning of the month. Perfect time to bring something new into your life. It doesn't have to be on the 6th. We have the full moon energy coming in on September the 20th. That's the time when you want to get something out of your life, something that doesn't fit anymore. I don't really have an example of that here, but it doesn't mean that there's stuff that's in your life that doesn't belong there anymore. You want to get it out at the end of the month. Doesn't have to be on the 20th, just any time toward the end. Now, I've put together a moon cycle cheat sheet for you guys, and that basically is a reference tool. It's a little guide through the end of the year. It's not just for September. It's good through all the months through the end of the year. So you can kind of use that to implement positive changes into your life, kind of line up the outline of major events. It really helps things flow quite a bit. And I offer that up absolutely free. All you have to do is sign up for the newsletter. It's at the very bottom of the website, scottsagent.com. You enter your first name, last initial, email address. You send that off, and then I send you back the newsletter along with your moon cycle cheat sheet. And like I said, it's a good thing to use through the end of the year and, kind of attack the rest of your months throughout 2021 confidently. So take advantage of that as well. Now let's get into story number 4. Large story, mostly health related. We've mostly been financial here. We have a little bit of love for my couples, but this guy here is health. They've made it very clear by telling me healthy lifestyle. So very, very clear about that. For a lot of you, this is something you have to go at alone. This is not something that you need to depend on other people for. Or maybe you're thinking, well, if I get somebody to go to the gym with me, then maybe I'll stick with it. They're saying no. Like, this is something you have to do. This is your journey. This is your path. They're saying to be emotionally mature about it. They're bringing up the nostalgia of a child. So for a lot of you, this, not just be emotionally mature about it in regards to like, oh, I don't need somebody else, but also the fact that whatever this is, and maybe you don't even know what this is yet, what you're going to get into or what you want to get into. So this is a reminder to remember what you were into when you were younger, the nostalgia of a child, something that you like to do, perhaps active when you were younger, or whatever for your health that you're trying to do. Think of your youth is what they're saying here. We have an action. A lot of you, this can come up in a work thing. So a lot of you can find a way to be more active at work or take more action toward your health while you're at work. Maybe that's what needs work. Maybe, you're eating terribly when you're at work because you're just being lazy and, eating out instead of preparing a meal or something like that. All that stuff comes up there for the first section. The second section of the story, they talk about divine feminine energy, the birth of something new. It also means fertility. They are talking about health here, so keep that in mind, Taurus. Fertility month. If you're trying to do that, good month to do that. If you're not trying to do that, keep it in mind. So we have Empress, divine feminine card, a lot of feminine energy flowing in the health center. Also a good time for softer activities, yoga, gardening, all that kind of softer stuff. Less rigid, less masculine activities come up. And same thing for the guys. There's no reason that if you're a guy Taurus tuning into this, that you cannot do a softer activity as well. There's plenty of guys that do yoga. There's plenty of guys that are into, gardening and landscaping and finding beauty in softer things. So there's no issue with that whatsoever. So don't think that I'm just talking to my women here. The other thing that they talk about here is a lot of you are getting over being a little bit imprisoned or bound to something or someone or a circumstance. And this divine feminine is really going to help break that open in regards to health. Whatever that is to you, the divine feminine health is really what they're pushing. They say a lot of you have been fighting over something with somebody else, and this may even be yourself. This could be two sides of your own personality, like, oh, should I do this? Should I not do this? Kind of like the devil and the angel on your two shoulders. Really just kind of a back and forth struggle over something like, well, when do I do it? Do I do it now? Do I do it later? Do I start it? Okay, let's start it now. Oh, I'm not ready to start it now. Whatever it is. So healthy lifestyle, whether it's diet, whether it's you adjusting your sleep patterns or, exercise situations, eating a certain way, whatever it is for you. Okay, story number 4 gives you a lot of information on all that. I know that was a lot, and you may even have to rewind this and go back and listen to it again because it was so much. But that's going to conclude right there with the storyline. Now we're going to get into the yes or no. And before I do that, I have to remind you that this is a general reading. There's a reason they call this a general reading, because we have a lot of Taurus energy here, a lot of bubble Taurus energy. And if you're looking for private messages, personal messages that are specific to you, I do offer those on my website, scottsagent.com. So now let's get into your yes or no. I hope you thought about that quite a bit. And the way that this usually gets answered is not directly. Spirit usually does not like to just tell you directly yes or no. They don't want to, they want you to choose for yourself what you're going to do in your life. And of course, the time that they step in and say otherwise is if something's dangerous or if there's like an imminent threat. But generally, they want you to make the decision. So you'll see that based on the cards that come up and how I'm describing it, is they're just giving you information so that hopefully you can use that information to make the right decision in your yes or no. So we're basically talking about factors and less of a black and white yes or no. So now that I've laid the disclaimer there, I've shuffled these cards again just basically to give them the option to reuse some of those cards that we already used to better describe perhaps our yes and our no. And also, I guess I should say as well that a lot of some of you may be thinking, well, there's no way you're going to answer a yes or no question because you pre-recorded this by the time I asked it. Well, that's not how quantum works. Time is an illusion and everything is right now. So it's all the same is what I'm saying. And I've done this quite a bit successfully for a long time. So let's get into it and see what we have for you. Your yes or no. I'm doing the ritual cuts again just because I always do. And then it's ready to go. So this is going to be the yes side. Yes and yes. And this is going to be the no side. No and no. I have 3 inverted, so I need to discard to see if they need to go upright. And they don't. We're going to leave. They want to leave it just the way that it is. Let's see why. I need to get a few more cards to describe. Okay, that's good. One there. All right, let's talk about the yes side. The first thing that they bring up is a work message coming in late in the month. A lot of you may have asked something to do with work. We have a message coming in toward the end of September. With that gives you a little bit of a trigger date or as far as when that could be. They're saying that this is when the hang up is going to break. This is when the delay is going to break. Anybody asking about work on the yes side, they're saying the delay breaks. The stagnation breaks toward the end of September. Something to keep in mind if you're looking for a job or if you're trying to do something more with your workplace or a business or your retirement. All that falls under work. Even area of study and learning something new. All that falls under work. Okay, so that is going to break open for a lot of my Tauruses toward the end of the month. The next thing they talk about here is doing the right thing. Coming up on the yes side, we have doing the right thing and purifying. They bring up the moon cycles again here. Notice how the moon cycle affects your energy. It says it right here on the card. And manifestations and capitalize upon these cycles. So they're really driving home everything I just talked about, the moon cycles. Pay close attention to that. They show a lot of you doing the right thing here, that you've been through hell. There's just no lighter way to say it. A lot of you have been through hell. They describe it as the war and chaos card. A lot of you have been through rough stuff, but you're trying to purify here. You're trying to get something toxic out of your life and stop this struggle, this fighting between two different things. They show it as an equal level footed fight or fighting over something. So this is usually like not you and a boss or you and a child or all that stuff is different level. This is same level. So this is like coworker versus coworker or sibling versus sibling, friend versus friend, stuff like that. That's the kind of energy that they're talking about, this purifying. And it may be just, this is the same, one of the same cards that came up in your health side, talking about when the timing is right for this. You may be, it's almost like coming back to that. This is the purification, fighting over the timing, fighting over something here. but getting over rough times. Follow the moon cycles, guys. They're reminding you to do that here. That's our yes side. Finding the context of this is obviously huge. You know, there's so many Tauruses here. It's like, how are they going to answer everybody's question? You got to look for the peace that answers yours. The next thing that they have on the no side here, I have message coming in at the end of September again, but this time it has to do with love. And a lot of times this can be not so good of a message, guys. Hate to break it to you. It's usually it has a little bit of a sting to it. It doesn't mean that it's terrible. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means that it's not the most pleasant news, perhaps, coming in toward the end of the month. I also have the Magician inverted. That usually means broken to me. Okay, so not the best news on the no side, depending on what you asked under perhaps love, coming up on the no side as described as I just did. The other thing that they show here is that a lot of you are, you're looking at this in a good perception, thankfully. We have looking at the things you have instead of the things you lost. Some of you may be asking about things you lost right here in regards to love or something like that. Really, they say you do a pretty good job of it, paying attention to what you have versus what you don't have. So we want to continue that. That's coming up on the no side as well. So that's going to wrap up our yes or no. We've been through the entire storyline spread and now the yes or no spread as well. Hopefully this answers a lot of your questions. And, that's really what this is all about, is implementing positive change into your life. Remember to pay attention to the moon cycles. They only told me that like 3 times in your spread. So that's going to wrap us up for September. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Also follow the Facebook page. I do giveaways now every single month. And that's going to wrap us up. I will see you guys in October.